So I was thinking about something actually a few days ago. As I've gotten closer to God and everything, something that I've been trying to get better at is the music I consume and the music I listen to and everything like that. And, it's tough because I grew up listening to a lot of different types of music, hip hop, rap, some pop, R&B, just cultural type of music and everything of that nature. But as I've gotten, closer to God and everything, I've had to really keep in mind what I'm listening to because some of the stuff that comes out nowadays doesn't really align with Christ. And this isn't to say that, you know, every single song has to mention the name of Jesus in it. But at the same time, if something is clearly against or doesn't align, blatantly with the gospel, biblical truths, and everything like that, you got to be careful of listening to it because it can lead to, different things in your life and just kind of having a different type of mindset that you don't really want. But, I've slowly but surely been cleaning my playlist. But somebody that I've listened to for a while is this artist named Kendrick Lamar. A lot of y'all probably know who that is. Some of y'all may not. And the reason I, you know, grew to like him as I've gotten older is I like to listen to music that has messaging in it. Whether it's social issues or whether it's things happening in culture and, artists who aren't really afraid to go against the grain and to really talk about different issues and stuff. Not somebody that just makes, dancing music and things like that, but someone who really uses, someone who really understands the art, right? And, I obviously don't agree with everything Kendrick says, and I don't think every single one of his songs aligns biblically and things of that nature. But for the most part, I like listening to music that has a message behind it. Whether you agree with it or not, I just like listening to people's views and different ideas and kind of seeing what they do with that. And so Kendrick Lamar, he posted a song on his Instagram page earlier this week. And, some people are calling it Watch the Party Die. Some people are calling it, Dear God. And what kind of struck out to me was the hook of the song. He was saying things like Dear God, and he kept on repeating Dear God over and over again. And, the song overall, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong with my interpretation of it, but the way I interpreted it as was him standing up against the music industry and trying to, contemplating going back and forth whether he should take a stand and try and tear the whole music industry down and build it back up to the way that he thinks it should be, getting music back to being an art instead of people taking advantage of it and using it just for money or all of these other things, or if he should go a different route and, kind of just be peaceful about it, right? And I really thought it was interesting because I like listening to music where people struggle with different responses to an issue that they may have with something. And so, something interesting that he mentioned towards the end of the song was, I wonder what Lecrae would do. Now, if y'all don't know Lecrae is a professing Christian and he's a rapper. And Lecrae has had his ups and downs as well. But for the most part, he professes to be a believer, and he's all about Jesus, which is something that I respect about him. A lot of people would be afraid to profess the name of Jesus, especially as a musical artist. So, when there is an artist who is proclaiming the name of Jesus, that's a good thing, right? And so, yeah, Lecrae, he's a popular Christian artist, and I like the fact that he's a Christian artist, but he also has an understanding of rap and layering bars and lyrics and different things like that. He combines his skill and his gift with the gospel, which is a great combination. But Kendrick in his song, he said, "I wonder what Lecrae would do," and Lecrae heard it and made a response to it. And the song was pretty much talking about what he would do if he was in Kendrick's shoes. And so that's one of Kendrick's things when he's saying, "I wonder what Lecrae would do." Kendrick was on the side of, should I kind of be more peaceful? Should I display or exhibit peaceful, godly traits? Or should I go about destroying the rap industry and kind of resetting it and bringing it back to a place of real artistry? And so Lecrae responded to this, and he was pretty much explaining what he would do, and different things like that. Y'all may hear people walking through the hall and stuff like that. There's one of the other churches is having their service right now, but yeah, Lecrae made this response and explaining what he would do and different things of that nature. And he said something interesting and, I think very profound at the end of his song, which was, Christ didn't watch the party die. Instead, he died for it. And I think that's a powerful statement because in Kendrick's song, he was saying, I think it's time for the party to die. The party being the antics, the music industry, all of this weird stuff that's going on nowadays. But Lecrae was saying Christ didn't watch the party die. Instead, he died for it. And I think that's a really powerful moment if you keep up with hip hop and everything, I think that's a really powerful moment because I think it shows how we should respond when the secular world is questioning how they should go about living life, if that makes sense. Kendrick, he's not necessarily a Christian artist, and he has, talked about God in the past, but there's still some clear things that need to be worked on in terms of his true understanding of faith and everything. And, I don't know Kendrick, I don't know his heart or anything like that. But just from the outside looking in, it doesn't seem like he fully grasps true Christianity or walking with Jesus. And I could be wrong. And I'm sure if I ever had a conversation with him, somehow it would bring more context and understanding to where he, stands in that area. But I think it was powerful what Lecrae did responding in that way, because I think it can show us how we can and should respond to people's questions or people who are struggling with how they should respond to things that they may have issues with and other things like that. And there's no better way to show somebody the way they should walk than sharing Jesus, because Jesus is the only person who ever walked this earth that walked perfectly. So why not, if somebody is struggling with a decision or something, how they should respond to an issue or different things, who better to show them than Jesus, right? To show them than the man who truly was about that life, who truly walked the walk and talked the talk. And he is and continues to be the perfect example of how we should go about living lives and living our lives and everything. And so for somebody who grew up listening to hip hop, grew up listening to rap music, and still likes listening to it, but also is still in the process of saturating and diluting and cleaning out my playlist of songs that I have in there, songs that I probably shouldn't be listening to. I think it's a beautiful thing to see someone who is a Christian rapper be able to be noticed by someone who is one of the most popular rappers, and to be able to have an opportunity to share the gospel in that way, in a way where that person can understand and comprehend it. And I think this is it can be a wake up call to all of us. You know, I work a job. I'm a civil engineer, and whatever God may have you doing, you know, there may be somebody who needs an example of how to walk as a believer, how to walk as Christ did. And so for us as believers, I think it's a perfect way to use our gifts to share the love of Jesus to the rest of the world. And so shout out to Lecrae for doing that. I think it was amazing. I think it was profound. And I think it can kind of give us an example of how we can go about responding to the secular world and how we can go about sharing the gospel of Jesus to those who are questioning it or to those who need it. So yeah, that's all I got for now. But I think that it's a good example and a good way and a good kind of model for us to follow of how we can use our gifts to share Jesus to the rest of the world.